Welcome to half-time of the footy. Well, Swan Districts are on track to once again play deep into September this year, and off-field things are going well for the club too. Today we catch up with two of their players who are part of a program the club's put in place to help the Indigenous players from the country make the move to the city easier for years to come.
Jetta managed to get it to his namesake in Lewis. Goes long and goes straight. Jetta crumbs, goal. To the electrifying Jetta who controlled it magically, then puts it on the right foot. Talking of magic.
Meet Lewis and Graham Jetta. The brothers have both made their league debuts this season, with Lewis playing every match and Graham playing his best game for the club last week against the Tigers. But the pair were nearly lost to the WAFL.
I spent most of my life down in Bunbury. I played juniors there, and it's been hard to move from Bunbury away from family.
The Jettas both played Colts for the Swans, but were reluctant to leave Bunbury due to the close connection they have with their family.
I was coming up for training twice a week, and coming to games, but I wasn't getting much run, so sort of lost interest. So I went back to the country.
But two things happened late last year that convinced Lewis, the younger of the two brothers at 20 years of age, to consider his future. Sitting in the stands at Subiaco WAFL watching friends he'd grown up with playing the WAFL Grand Final, and then seeing his cousin Neville get drafted to Melbourne, made Lewis realise that he wanted to give playing football at the highest level another go.
When their cousin got drafted, Lewis decided to give one more crack. So he goes, I said, oh yeah, I'll just support you, see if you can do it. And since we moved up, everything just went good for him.
In his debut WAFL season, Lewis Jetta has represented the state and has caught the attention of talent scouts Australia-wide. And now the pacey wingman is considered a certainty to be drafted into the AFL.
Well, we've got 5 brothers, so you can understand, like, we're always kicking the footy around at the park, just at the backyard, so yeah. It was always competitive too, we always wanted to win it, always wanted to beat each other, and I think it's still how it is now. When you muck around, you still want to beat your brother. And that sort of reflects on the field. That's how come I reckon he's playing good footy. Like, still doesn't want to get beaten.
When you're playing, do you feel that connection? You just know which way each other are going to turn, and how you can get it to your brother.
Yeah. Well, like last year, we had 3 brothers playing one. Like, we just get the ball from one end to the other end and kick a goal. And if you would have watched the Claremont game on the weekend, you'd have saw that he would just look for me. And I think some people would have picked it up as well.
The Swan District's hierarchy was well aware of the talent the Jetta boys possessed, but was also aware of the trouble Indigenous players from its country zones of the Pilbara and Bunbury have had over the years in relocating to Perth.
Louis and Graham are kids we've tried to, get playing with the club in years prior to this year. Louis played in our Colts Premiership back in 2007. And we've had trouble being able to facilitate that transition for them, and consequently neither of them played football for the club in the second half of last year. The ask of living in Bunbury, commuting to training and game days over a full season was just too much.
So, as a result, the Swan House was established. Just a few hundred metres down the road from Bassendean Oval, the club has bought a house to help some of its young stars make the transition from country to city life.
Accommodation has been something at the forefront of our intentions to try and address. It's been a slow process, and we've sort of explored a lot of avenues and come across a lot of difficulties trying to come up with options to address the accommodation issue. And over the past 12 months we identified that the best way to solve the problem was probably to purchase a house ourselves.
Swan House is based on a Claremont Football Club initiative that saw the Tigers purchase a house 5 years ago for its players from the Kimberley. Since 2004, 32 players have at some stage lived in the Kimberley House, with 7 of them going on to be drafted by AFL clubs.
By the first gamer, and Benjamin's kicked a goal.
The Jetta boys and their cousin Josh Kelly are the first residents of the Swan House and are cared for by house parent Brad Delbridge.
There's different things that you need to know, cultural-wise, and they're boys anyway, so in general they've just got boys' views, but it is a challenge, and there's always something different, and they're funny guys, so it's good fun.
When we first moved in, we sort of didn't really know how to talk to him, so, you just didn't know. But because we just started to get used to him now, so it's going pretty good at the moment.
The Swan House is part of a wider youth and community development program put in place by Swan Districts and headed by former West Coast Premiership stars Chris Lewis and Peter Matera.
We have kids that have come to the city purely for academic pursuits. So it's a pretty broad range program that addresses educational outcomes. We've got school to work programs where we facilitate the pathway from, I guess, higher education or the end of secondary studies into the workforce. Then we've got our support structures for kids with a bit more talent, and that may be netball, it may be football, and in one case we've helped out a softballer this year as well.
Through the program, Swans are ensuring that youth from its country zones are learning about developing a healthy life and work balance. In the club's words, it's not all about football. Since relocating to the city, the club has assisted in finding Lewis employment in turf management, while Graham works for Australia Post.
I didn't want to work out once I moved up here. I just wanted to sit back and watch him do everything. But since I got the job, it's pretty good pay and everything. It's going good, yeah.
It's certainly not a free ride for the boys. There are requirements and there's a contract they have to sign to be able to reside in the house. That involves the kids either working or attending school. If they're working, they have a requirement to pay rent. It's all part of the education process and being able to sustain themselves. There's a lot of life skills that get taught around, I guess, healthy eating. Work's a key part of that in terms of having a bit of direction and getting into a routine.
The routine and structure put in place by the club has helped the older of the two, 22-year-old Graham, get into condition for league football.
At the start of the season I wasn't that fit, but since I moved up here, I started eating Subway and all this and eating all healthy foods and starting to lose weight now. I think I was about like 95 when I moved up, being like 79 now, 78, so yeah.
So does the club help you with your diets and what to cook around the house?
Oh, because when we pay rent, they actually pay for food as well, so they buy all diet food and like high milk and all this stuff.
There's nothing but healthy food there.
And it's Brad, the house parent's responsibility to make sure the boys are learning the skills they need.
Now, I try and give the boys a little bit of responsibility so they can, when they do move east or get drafted or something like that, say, it gives them their own responsibilities, which will, their own independence, cleaning up the dishes, own cooking. So I try and, offload that role to them.
The club is developing these young men and women for the future, both on and off the sporting field. With Lewis likely to get drafted at the end of this season, the brothers are having to learn quickly in case his name is called by one of the 14 AFL sides based outside of WA.
If he does get drafted to Melbourne, I'll probably have to, just for support, because he hasn't got his licence. And I don't think Dad would want to be driving around in Melbourne all hours of the night, nightclubs. And if he gets picked up in one of the West Australian teams, it'll be good, because still got all family here, and it'll be good, yeah. But if you have to move over there, I'll probably go for support.
And the boys can build on the skills they've learnt this year.
Who's the better cook?
He's a better cook, but he's a lazy one. But
he makes it look good, but tastes a bit funny. But I make it look bad, but tastes good.
And what about cleaning? Is there someone who's a bit of a tidy freak and the other one?
For me.
Yeah, it would be Graham. Yeah. I come home from work and the house is just neat, tidy.
Many people compare Lewis Jetta's game to that of his mentor, Peter Matera. And the up-and-coming star is making sure he gathers as much information as he can.
I asked him a couple of questions, just give me some advice how to play a good wingman. He told me he's going to make the best wingman in WA, so it's going pretty good.